we're gonna make us a little vlog today. And I was actually sitting in this parking lot here trying to think of a vlog idea, and one just popped into my head. So let's get to it. So oftentimes I get the question of, like from friends that know I ride and people that want to ride, like, why did you get the bike that you have? Why ride a sport bike? Why ride a CBR as opposed to why didn't you get a Gixxer? Why don't you ride a Gixxer, bro? And I'll tell you the evolution of my riding history. So I can't remember, I think it was either like 16 or 17 or something of that nature, and I've been around bikes pretty much my whole life. Like, my dad rode, he had motorcycles. He started off on like a Harley. He was always a Harley guy, and still is. And he originally had like I think it was like a Fat Boy was the model. I can't remember correctly. But then I remembered he had a 2001 Cherry Red Road King Classic. Where do you think I got my name from? And now he has a Ultra Glide, real nice bike. And so I always grew up around Harleys. Like both my mom and dad ride. Mom had a Sportster 1200, and then she crashed that, and now she's got an Electric Glide, but she's got a trike. It makes it a little easier for us, and she didn't have to worry about balancing. But my parents' friends both ride Harleys, so I've been around Harleys for as long as I can remember. And when I took the MSF course, I learned I think they had me on like a KLR 650, honestly, because I was a much bigger guy than a lot of the people that were taking the course. And so they pretty much were like, here, we've got this bigger bike, it's a dirt bike-esque style, so maybe you can ride this one as opposed to like, a Honda Shadow 250 or a little tiny ass bike. But that was back in like high school, and so I didn't, I would occasionally get to ride his Road King, and I can still remember the day when I accidentally pulled up to a stop sign and my leg couldn't support the weight of the bike and actually laid it on its side. I thought he was going to kill me, because you hate seeing a bike on its side, and like I'm having to call these neighbors that are right up the road for me to help come and lift the bike up. But then Mom wanted to learn how to ride, and so she got a Sportster 1200. Now, a lot of times she would, be working or something, and I'd be home during summer from school, and I wanted something to do. So, I had my motorcycle license. I took it out and rode it. So essentially my first bike was a Sportster 1200. It's a great little bike. It did what I needed to do. I could definitely tell I was too big for it because my knees were like hitting my elbows when I would ride. But I didn't care because I was having fun riding a motorcycle. And then I graduated. Well, Mom laid that bike down, and so there went my fun. Love you, Mom, but yeah. And so I graduated college and found out, I got my, first big boy job outside of school, and I knew I was going to, be making good money or something. I wanted my own motorcycle. And I ended up being the black sheep of the family because, at first I would have wanted a Harley. I liked them just because that's what my family liked. So I didn't really know any better. But, wait, it stopped short, goddamn. But, Harley's, HD stands for $100. And I couldn't afford that. So I was looking around, and I kind of wanted a sport bike. But at the time, I didn't know if I wanted a super sport. I didn't know if I wanted to be what I would thought would be, leaning over a tank the entire time, and my back would be hurting all the time. And I never thought, a sport bike could be comfortable. But I looked at like the sports standards, like the SV650 or the Kawasaki 650. And I found this one bike, the Yamaha FZ6R. It was sporty, but it had a nice upright seating position. It was very comfortable. And I was like, okay, that's my bike. Went to the dealership and bought it. I think I had my dad help me out at first. I think it was like part graduation gift, part something of that nature. But so I had essentially my first bike, like me personally, my first bike was a Yamaha FZ6R. And I loved that bike. Like, it did exactly what I needed it to do. And I rode it and had a lot of fun riding it. But I could tell, like, I found myself wanting more power. I found myself wanting that super sport position. I found myself wanting to be able to take turns a little bit tighter and stuff like that. And I was just yearning for that power of having a super sport. I realized that I didn't want a cruiser style, I wanted a super sport. So after I think I had that bike for like close to 5,500 miles, I was just happened to realize that there was a Honda dealership out near where I live, out at Capital Power Sports. And so I took my bike there and was just on a whim looking, and they had 3 2012 Honda CBR 600 RR. Or is a cycle cruiser, CBR 600 RR. I kind of biffed that one. And I sat on it, and it felt comfortable, and even for what I've been told, that the CBR 600 is the most comfortable super sport to be on, like if you were to take a poll. And so I ended up trading my bike for that. Got a loan from my employer because they actually have their own credit union, and everybody was asking, like, why did you go from a bike that was already paid off to one that you had to make payments on? I'm like, because it's a bike that I wanted. And so now I ride a super sport, and it's what I'm on right now. It's my bike, and I absolutely love it. But I get people that ask, what about starting out on a 250? What about starting out on a 300? And I tell people, I'm like, well, when at first, like, the 300s weren't really available. Like, I mean, the 250s was pretty much what you had available. Now you've got, like, the R3, and they make the Honda 3. I think they even make, like, Honda makes the 300, and Kawasaki makes the 300. And, all these ones are starting to make these 300 bikes. And that's all well and good, but that wasn't what I wanted at the time. And I know that, like, I know my riding abilities, so I know that as long as I respect that throttle, and I know my limitations, and, like, I won't necessarily ride outside of my limitations, but I'll definitely keep pushing them. Getting lower in turns, gotta drag that knee, bro. And then I get a lot of times, I had this conversation with my coworkers tonight, because one of them was asking about, wanting to get a motorcycle, and I was giving them my little spiel and stuff, take the MSF course, and do all this stuff to, get prepared to ride a bike. Because once you do, you're not just riding a bike, like, you're picking up a lifestyle. And he was asking about gear. And, I've had this conversation a multitude of times, and I'll tell you about one in particular time here in a second. But he was asking about gear, and I told him, I wear I've got my Alpine Star SMX5 boots, my Alpine Star jacket, Alpine Star gloves, if y'all are catching a pattern here, and my Icon variant helmet. And he was asking, like, what does that cost? What does that cost? And I told him my variant cost me around $400. My gloves were about $100. The jacket was like $200. The boots I bought on Craigslist for $120. He was like, whoa, why would you spend so much money on that? I was like, that's what it costs. No, not all gear is going to be like that, but if you want good, substantial gear that is going to protect you in a crash, you got to spend the money. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to spend the money, and then when they accidentally lay their bike down, they're wondering why they're having to pay an $80,000, $90,000 hospital bill. And I would much rather pay to replace a $400 helmet than to pay an $80,000 hospital bill. Oh, that could have been horrible, because I did not see that car there. That's why I hate that intersection in general. And and so I get this question all the time too, because I was out riding my my mom's trike, and a guy stopped and asked me, he's like, "Why are you wearing a full face helmet on there?" And this bugs me to no end. Like, the type of bike you ride does not dictate what kind of gear you have to wear. If you want to be in full fucking high-vis yellow on a cruiser, wear high-vis yellow on a cruiser. If you want to, rock motocross gear on, your super sport, which kind of goes hand in, or not on your super sport, but in your supermoto, that I can kind of understand and stuff. But like, I hate when people think that the type of bike they ride dictates what they wear. So I'll give you an example. I was visiting my friend at a gun show, actually, and she had her boyfriend with her, and her boyfriend rides a motorcycle, and he's in like this motorcycle club kind of deal. And I rode there on my bike, and I was carrying my helmet around with me, and I always love getting compliments on my helmet because I rock the Variant. I've got a Warhawk on it. And the guy was asking me, he's like, "Oh man, that's so cool. I wish I could wear a helmet like that." And I was telling him, it's like, dude, I can give you the website to where to buy one, and where you can get the cool accessory for it and stuff like that. It's like, "Oh man, I can't wear that. I ride a Harley." I was like, it was my friend's boyfriend, so I bit my tongue. But I wanted to be like, "You dumb motherfucker. Like, the kind of bike you ride does not dictate what kind of gear you have to wear. If you're on a Harley and you want to wear a full face helmet, fucking wear a full face helmet. Like, but don't wear the half helmet and the leather vest and all this other crap just because you ride a Harley and think that you have to fit the profile and fit the lifestyle. You're not an extra on Sons of Anarchy. Ride how you want to ride what kind of bike you want to ride, and wear what kind of gear you want to wear. That's why I don't ever pick on anybody's gear. If you want to be a squid and just rock a helmet and that's it, then do that. But you're also going to get no sympathy from me when you're picking gravel out of your ass because you laid it down going into a turn that you didn't think you could take. That's just one of the things that just bugs me, is when other bikers think that the kind of bike they ride dictates the gear that they wear. So that's my short little rant for the day. People not wanting to pay the extra money for good, proper gear that's going to protect them, and would much rather take the easy way out. But when accidents happen and you lay your bike down, you're not going to get any sympathy from me. I appreciate you guys. You guys listen to my fun little rant. Hopefully more videos coming, I promise you. I think I'm putting out a video almost like at least once a day, just because I've constantly got my camera going when I'm riding. That you guys may be hearing from me a lot more often than you probably want to. But yeah, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell me, critique my videos, and give me suggestions for things you guys want to see me vlog about.